Manhunt over. The suspect wanted in the roadside killing of a New Mexico state trooper has been captured. The officer gunned down after offering help to his suspected killer.
There was nowhere that he could run, that there was nowhere he could hide.
We'll have the latest. Also tonight, the U.S. government sends a plane to fly Americans out of Haiti, the country in chaos. In Washington, the White House goes green.
Well, happy St. Patrick's Day, please.
While Donald Trump ramps up his rhetoric on the campaign trail.
If I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Weather whiplash. Forget spring. Freezing temperatures return this week, affecting millions of you. We'll have the latest forecast. Plus, this volcano erupts with little notice, prompting Iceland to declare a state of emergency. And later, hawk for hire, how this handler and his bird of prey are working together to clear out some very foul problems.
Hygienic, come on.
This is the CBS Weekend News from New York with Jerika Duncan.
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us. We begin tonight in New Mexico, where authorities have captured a suspect accused of gunning down a state trooper Friday who tried to help the suspect. 33-year-old Jeremy Smith is now in custody after authorities arrested him following a police pursuit and shootout in Albuquerque. Smith was spotted by a gas station clerk, which prompted an urgent manhunt this weekend and a chilling warning to communities to be on the lookout for the armed and dangerous suspected killer. CBS's Elise Preston has the details on Smith's capture and his condition. Elise.
Jerika, New Mexico police say the suspect is in the hospital under guard after being shot during his arrest.
33-year-old Jeremy Smith was captured after a foot chase and gunfire, some of the bullets leaving him wounded.
We said that we would bring Jeremy Smith to justice. There was nowhere that he could run, that there was nowhere he could hide.
Investigators say Smith, seen in this police dash cam photo, shot and killed New Mexico State Police Officer Justin Hare when the patrolman responded Friday to reports of a driver with a flat tire on Interstate 40.
The last words Officer Hare uttered on this earth was to offer help to a man who's about to kill him.
According to authorities, the South Carolina resident then took off in the patrolman's car before crashing and bailing. Police have also connected Smith to the death of paramedic Phoenicia Machado IV, whose body was found Friday in South Carolina. The white BMW Smith was driving belonged to her.
Now that Smith is under arrest, police say they are focusing on finding anyone that may have helped him elude authorities. Jerika?
Elise Preston for us tonight. Thank you. Tonight, an aircraft chartered by the State Department to help Americans leave Haiti has left the country. The aircraft flew to the city of Cap-Haitien, about a 5-hour drive from the capital of Port-au-Prince. Will Grant of our partners at the BBC is there and filed this report.
After weeks of a security and humanitarian crisis in Haiti, during which embassies from around the world have already airlifted out all non-essential staff, now the U.S. State Department has laid on a charter flight for Americans still stuck in Haiti who are looking to leave the country. Some U.S. citizens have taken them up on that offer, including one man we spoke to who said he was in need of medical attention in Miami. Meanwhile, this city, Cap-Haitien, has become the safe haven for people fleeing the capital and the gang violence there. An estimated 360,000 people are currently displaced in Haiti, and the situation in the capital is constantly getting worse. Gang violence is worsening, food insecurity is severe, and there is no sign of any serious amounts of aid making it in just yet. So with the political vacuum continuing and the criminal gangs in control of most of the capital, this is a route out for some Americans, but Haitians are still stuck here to deal with the ongoing crisis. Will Grant, BBC News for CBS News, Cap-Haitien, Haiti.
Tonight, a landslide election victory for Russian President Vladimir Putin. Voting took place over 3 days. There were protests at some polling stations, but the outcome was never in doubt. Putin has held power as president or prime minister there since 1999. To U.S. politics now. This weekend on the campaign trail, former President Donald Trump said some migrants are, quote, not people, and warned of a, quote, bloodbath if he loses in November. His rhetoric is drawing new scrutiny tonight, including from President Joe Biden's campaign. CBS's Skylar Henry is at the White House with more on that. Skylar, good evening.
Hey, Jerika, good evening to you. President Biden spent St. Patrick's Day here at the White House. The rhetoric from him and Donald Trump is under the microscope, with some slamming the former president's comments this weekend on several different issues, while their respective re-election campaigns also traded barbs as this likely rematch takes shape.
President Biden sounded off on Donald Trump at the annual Gridiron Dinner in Washington Saturday night. At the off-camera event, he took aim at the former president's repeated stance on the 2020 election results, saying in part, embracing the January 6th insurrectionists posed the gravest threat to our democracy. But as this war of words continues, some are questioning former President Trump's rhetoric on the campaign trail, referring to January 6th rioters as hostages.
And that's what they are, as hostages. They've been treated terribly and very unfairly.
It's very unfortunate at a time that there are American hostages being held in Gaza, that the president or any other leaders would refer to people that are moving through our justice system as hostages.
The Biden campaign seized on this moment, slamming Trump, who at a rally in Ohio said this after talking about tariffs on Chinese-made cars.
Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Louisiana Republican Senator Bill Cassidy, at times critical of the former president, weighed in.
He's running against Biden, so Biden's going to say it's about political violence. His defenders want to defend him, and so they're going to say it's about economic disaster. There's always just that little bit of tension there.
Now, on the campaign trail, the Biden team is touting record numbers, having $155 million in its campaign war chest going into March. Officials say they plan on spending more as well as travel picks up for the president. He's leaving for a 3-day trip this week with stops in Nevada and Arizona. Jerika.
All right, Skylar, thank you. Today, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu fired back at U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer of New York. Schumer called Netanyahu an obstacle to peace in Gaza and said Israel should hold new elections. Netanyahu reaffirmed his determination to launch an offensive in Rafah, defying international criticism. The city is packed with around 1.5 million Palestinians from other parts of Gaza seeking refuge there after 5 months of war. Netanyahu says no international pressure will stop Israel from achieving all of its war aims. Well, tonight, a state of emergency in parts of Iceland after a powerful volcanic eruption there. It happened late Saturday with little notice. Lava fountains burst out of the ground along a nearly 2-mile-long fissure. The eruption leads to evacuations and currently threatens local infrastructure. Today, Ohio's governor declared a state of emergency in 11 counties hit by last week's severe weather, which spun off at least 8 tornadoes. The storms killed 3, injured dozens, and left trails of destruction in 7 states. In Colorado, roads are still being cleared there this weekend after Thursday's big snowstorm. Up to 4 feet fell in some parts of the state. And if you think winter is over this week, think again. Meteorologist Paul Goodlow of our partners at the Weather Channel has this reality check for us. Paul, good evening.
Jerika, spring officially begins late on Tuesday, but winter's saying, hold on, not so fast, my friend. Take a look at our temperatures plunging as we head overnight into your Monday and Tuesday here, all the way down towards the Gulf Coast and parts of Texas. Places that we're dealing with and enjoying temperatures in the 60s and the 70s. Tomorrow, we'll see 40s and 50s, even with full sunshine. Across the Northeast, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, temperatures below freezing as we head on towards your Tuesday morning, talking about 20s and 30s. That's cooling the ground down, but also setting us up for another push of wintry weather as we head into spring. European model and the American model both are saying snow is coming across the northern tier states. The devil's though in the details. We'll keep fine-tuning this as we head into the first few days of spring. Jerika?
All right, don't pack those winter coats just yet. Thank you, Paul. Today, an annual but spectacular sight in Washington, D.C., the famous cherry blossoms lining the tidal basin there in the nation's capital. They are at peak bloom. That means the blossoms are puffy and white. Today, Ireland may be the best place to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. It was a sea of green inside and outside Ireland's iconic Temple Bar in Dublin. It's one of the most famous pubs in the capital, serving up pints and pints and pints and more since 1840. Straight ahead on the CBS Weekend News, the real survivors of Oppenheimer and their fight for funding. Plus, NBA star Steph Curry champions self-confidence in his new children's book. And Rent-A-Hawk, rid the city of pests. How this patroller and his wingman are keeping the streets clean. The film Oppenheimer, which won 7 Oscars, including Best Picture, has renewed efforts to bring justice to generations of Americans, specifically those who have contracted cancers and other diseases during the development and testing of the atomic bomb. CBS's Scott McFarland reports.
The Trinity test. In the desert of south-central New Mexico in July 1945 began the world's nuclear age, and it's the climax of the film named Best Picture. The mushroom cloud soared just miles from where Tina Cordova's family lived in the desert community of Tularosa.
It's less than 150 miles.
And where for generations her family has been stricken with cancer. Tina received the news she had thyroid cancer at age 39.
When you were diagnosed, how soon until you suspected it might be linked to the test site?
I knew immediately. I always say we don't ask if we're going to get cancer, we ask when it's going to be our turn.
You ask when?
When, because it's happened to everybody around us.
Multiple states have grappled with the fallout of U.S. nuclear bomb development, and since 1990, Washington has compensated some families for medical expenses through a program called the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, which helps people in areas downwind from government nuclear tests and exposure to pay their doctor's bills.
The United States Congress has not made any significant progress.
But mired in budget standoffs, Congress has come perilously close to an upcoming deadline to keep the program running.
Then what? More and more loved ones who sacrifice so much will die.
The bill is passed.
Until a partial breakthrough weeks ago when the Senate approved a plan to extend the money for families another 5 years and expand it to include families like Cordova's. It was pushed by New Mexico Democratic Senator Ben Ray Lujan and Missouri Republican Josh Hawley, who successfully urged Senate colleagues to expand eligibility to people in his state and a handful of others.
This is about doing basic justice by the working people of this nation, whom their own government has poisoned.
As illnesses plague Missouri, where World War II-era radioactive waste was processed.
You're seeing a large number of cancer cases near St. Louis.
Huge. We are one of the leading sites for breast cancer in the nation. A huge number of childhood cancers in several childhood cancer categories. We lead the nation.
There is opposition in Congress, mainly over the cost of the legislation, estimated at tens of billions of dollars. But in the shadow of the Oscar-winning film, Lujan and Hawley are trying to twist political arms to get approval in a gridlocked U.S. House.
Those artists deserve the wins. But what about the people whose stories were not included in that film? Who are dying, who are willing to use all their energy to educate others. And I certainly hope that everyone that was a part of Oppenheimer doesn't forget these folks across the country.
Congress has just 3 months to pass this law or the money risks running out. The White House has indicated the president would sign it into law. Scott McFarland, CBS News, Washington.
Still ahead on the CBS Weekend News, how NBA superstar Steph Curry scores with his latest project for kids.
Curry comes free, gets the ball, puts up a three-pointer. Bang! Steph Curry nails the three-pointer with 17.
It is safe to say NBA superstar Steph Curry does not lack confidence on the court, and now he's working to help kids find their inner confidence through his new children's book. I recently sat down with the 4-time NBA champion to discuss how the idea came to be.
Coming off of the first book, I Have a Superpower, trying to create amazing storytelling for kids that can inspire confidence and, them embracing how unique they are. And with Zoe's story, her hearing aids being something that she has to deal with on a daily basis, the confidence to walk into any room and embrace who she is. I think it'll hopefully inspire kids to love who they are.
In this book, you talk about being underrated. You know all about that.
Coming up through basketball, I didn't pass the eye test. I was called like a late bloomer, but it was about developing a confidence in who I was, developing a work ethic, not getting deterred by failure along the way.
So you're a father of 3, Riley, Ryan, and Cannon. What are the ages of all 3 now?
So we are 11, 8, and 5.
You're in the thick of it.
We're in the thick of it.
What did they say about the book? Did they get a chance to read it?
They have read it, and it's always like that confusion. Like, you wrote a children's book? Like,
your kids are confused.
Yeah, like because
like you do more than play basketball.
Yeah, like they have the rooms are filled with books, but when it's one that Dad brings home, it's a little bit more special.
How's your dad joke game? You good? You bad? You corny? You funny? Where do we stand?
I got one. My kids love I am on the corny side for sure.
What's one that you pull out every once in a while?
It's the worst one, but it's what do you call a man with a rubber toe?
A rubber toe. A man with a rubber toe. Ooh, let me think about this.
It's so bad. My daughters love it.
I don't know.
Roberto.
Okay. That is bad, but
I told you.
Okay. It's so bad it's good. Well, congratulations to Curry and his wife Aisha, who recently announced they are expecting baby number 4. Next on the CBS Weekend News, buzzer beater, why these Bulldogs are dancing yet again.
And that 3-2 dropped off to Nolan.
How exciting. Today, Yale punched their ticket to the big dance in stunning fashion. They beat Brown 62-61 at the final buzzer in the men's Ivy League tournament championship game. With the win, the Bulldogs clinched their spot in the NCAA tournament. This election Sunday marks the start of March Madness. Go to CBSSports.com to check out all 68 men's and 68 women's teams that earned a bid to the NCAA tournament. Well, when we return, hawk for hire, how this high flyer is helping control birds. We end tonight with a hawk for hire. In tonight's Weekend Journal, Itai Had of CBS station KPIX in San Francisco shows us just how this high-flying predator is being able to keep skies overhead clear.
All right, here we go. Follow Adam Baz to work, and you might feel like you're stepping onto the set of a Hitchcock movie. But this isn't Hollywood, it's Oakland, California, where thousands of crows descend on the city night after night.
Crows sleep communally, we call them roosts. They can be hundreds, if not thousands, of birds.
For the last few weeks, Adam and his team of falconers have been working hand in glove with Jasper, a steely-eyed Harris's hawk, to clear out a flock of crows from Oakland's federal building.
Come on.
Unlike traditional falconry, the goal here isn't to hunt, it's to chase off nuisance birds. And while Adam insists he has nothing against crows, it's the mess they leave behind that has people crying foul.
Their droppings can be a huge problem. They can be unhygienic. Come on.
Jasper functions as a high-flying scarecrow.
So I'm going to load you up with a little piece of food here.
His favorite snack, little bits of frozen mice, which keep him full so he doesn't attack other birds.
Now you can lift your arm. Perfect.
The practice, known as falconry bird abatement, has been soaring in recent years as people look for humane ways to encourage birds to sleep somewhere else.
So it was really a huge maintenance issue.
Mary Sims is the spokesperson for the federal building. She says before Jasper, the plaza was covered in bird droppings. Not anymore.
We've really seen a huge reduction in the amount of crows in the area.
At the end of the day, Adam and Jasper head home.
The results are really noticeable.
The best part, the crows are now free to take their flock party somewhere else. Itai Had, CBS News, Oakland, California.
Well, coming up tonight on 60 Minutes, Scott Pelley travels to a safe haven for Russians defying Putin and speaking out. For now, I'm Jerika Duncan in New York. We thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.